Greetings, how is everybody today? As we get started, I wonder what you've experienced in the category of delegation over the years. In truth, servant leaders delegate with purpose and an eye toward the future. Offloading a bunch of tasks is not the primary motivation behind assigning some of the leader's tasks to other people. And I've heard it said that the leader should offload everything. Okay, maybe not. Depends on, honestly, where you are in business, how far along the road you are. Too often we assume that the only option for team members to have team members is full-time employees, and that's not really true anymore. This assumption can create huge obstacles in growth. When you're caught in that place where there's not enough money to pay full-time salaries, but there's too much work for project-based assistance. So a lot of leaders get so caught up in busyness and they feel like they're on this just treadmill and it's running constantly. But that busyness keeps us frozen in place because we don't have enough time to take a breath and determine what can be delegated. Does this relate to your current position at all? Do you feel that way? I'm so busy I can't think. And if I could just offload, but what should I offload? So instead of looking at it as a job you're trying to create, we can consider the work that's difficult and frustrating and doesn't match our own skills and strengths. And as leaders, we all have stuff that we hate to do. I mean, really, there's lots of stuff we don't like to do. Some of that stuff you really can't delegate, but a lot of it you can. So your entire view changes when you can list off tasks from today that could be completed much more efficiently by somebody else. So instead of looking at it as, now I have to find this massive piece of work, find a few things that you just can't stand to do from today. So then you define a role, and that's really the first step. What is inside that role? And as we begin to delegate, the purpose of delegation begins to evolve, and we start to realize why we're delegating. At first, we just need to get the work covered, right? I mean, we just have to get the work done. So someone has to do all this stuff that supports the actual core of the business. You may love the core. And whatever that is, it could be a trade, it could be anything specialized that motivated you to either start your business or take a specific role. Somebody has to do all the stuff that's around the edges. And those are the things that you usually can offload first. Then the purpose in delegating will change a little bit. Let's say that you actually take 5 tasks. You hate doing them all, and they're all interrelated. So why not have one person do all 5 of those tasks and build the role around those 5? That's your first step. So then roles can be filled in many different ways depending on the life cycle of the business. If you're a very seasonal business, you may not want employees. You may want temps in the season. You know, it could be a summer season, it could be a Christmas season, it could be anything. Tax season, and you staff up for those. Everybody knows they're temporary, you're honest about it, and then you bring everything back down and shift into a different gear for the rest of the year. But as the team grows, the next consideration is how to find the team member that could be promoted. That's part of career management. That's part of developing and retaining your best people. So for the good of every team member, the first promotion from expert to leader must be handled with the future in mind. Now, in all honesty, what could be so difficult about promotions, right? It's just a natural progression. Or is it? The leader just throws out the idea, people apply, bang. Everything rocks on just fine. Except, usually there's just so much more to that first promotion. And as leaders, we have got to make careful selections. One of the most profound things that I realized not all that long ago was that massive organizations can absorb a lot of incompetence. A small organization cannot make those same missteps and survive. So delegation, before you create roles, before you create promotions, before you create any depth in your organization, the delegation is helpful when we want to create our own perfect workday. Now, the opposing side is developing experts into leaders. And if you're going to grow a business and you're going to grow it from the inside, which you really kind of should, the reward of a promotion cannot be blind to the new role. Now, what in the world does that mean? The reward of a promotion cannot be blind to the new role. I have a couple of examples. Early in my own career, I watched one of the project leaders take a supervisor role. Now, at the time, it was really the only next step because there was not a technical ladder. There was no progression if you stayed on the technical side, and the corporation would start figuring out, this isn't working because we're losing all our technical talent. But anyway, this one project leader took a supervisor role. And in a matter of months, she was literally miserable. She hated it. Now, what do you do in that instance? Fire her? No, it was not an option. What do you do? She figured out they were spending all their time in meetings, which was not her forte. She had to do career management, which she kind of anticipated, but it wasn't her forte. She really wanted to be in the technical realm. She took the step back. She took the career alignment, and we went forward. Now, not all that long ago, in a more recent role, I watched a very, very technical person take a step up into team leader thinking that she would get more technical. Well, in that transition, the role completely changed, and she learned very quickly, this is not for me. She ended up actually going over and being an admin, which I thought was odd. But in both cases, the promotion required handling duties that just did not match the individual. So as leaders, we have got to reveal what's in the role. So you can create countless roles for the expert that's ready for some sort of a promotion. So instead of saying, okay, this is the role, does the person match? Look at the person and then develop the role. So you've got two different things you can do here. If there's not a person there, develop the role and put the person in it. Some person, hire, outsource, whatever you want to do. But you've got to figure out, if you already have a team, what you want to create. As the leader, my objective is to replace myself, always. Now, that may sound like I'm working myself out of a job. What I'm really doing is I'm working myself into the job that I actually want. Okay, so if you are spending your days doing stuff you hate, maybe you should not be doing that. So I want to offload enough of my role to find the strengths inside my team. And that's really, it gets to be a lot of fun because people really just blossom. And you want to do that. Delegation is honestly my method of discovery because the work is still getting done. But people are enjoying their jobs and not feeling like they're being dumped on. And you may delegate to someone and go, that didn't work. Let's pull that off of that person and put it over here. Give that person something they want to do. All of this falls along the lines with ask more questions. If people don't like something, don't make them keep it. That's torture. So the process may take some time, depending on the complexity of the work you're trying to offload. If it's a real simple task, don't worry too much about it. But if you're creating and enhancing roles, then what you want to do is reward people for it and realizing you're saving money doing it. So as I notice roles that I want to create, I really kind of start to create the ability to promote. And this is something that comes into focus as the team grows, as the business grows, and as you start to realize you actually have room to breathe, as you delegate with some thought in mind. Do it thoughtfully, planfully, and with a purpose. So what kind of roles can you include? There's always administrative support. There's millions of administrative tasks. There's performance management and supervision of many different kinds. There's operations management, there's problem solving, there's direct customer contact when if a big customer's upset, that takes a different skill set. Where is that in your team? There's also executive communication. Now, that may or may not apply, but it's a totally different approach to communicating with someone when you treat them like an executive or they already are an executive. All of those roles can be developed, and then depending on the people you have, you can fill those roles. Or if you have somebody who has some of those skills, create a role especially for them and offload it for yourself. Now, depending on the business, each one of these roles can be very large or they can be rather minor. The leader will delegate to reveal what is in the role and show the candidates what is available. So before any promotion opportunity is offered, people should understand what the roles will be in the future. Don't promote people and blindside them with, "Ooh, I hate this." Duties can be delegated temporarily to determine the interests inside the team. Make reassignments, change chairs, make it kind of something that's going to shuffle. Don't create something that's territorial, because then people start to say, "Oh, this is job security." No, it's not. If you don't share what you know, it's not job security. So if a skill is not available in the team and nobody wants to learn the skill, the next step is to expand the team. But remember, the future of the team is important, and more important than just toss and work at somebody. Wise leaders delegate what we know how to do, and this is so important. If you don't know how to do something, you're going to both be stifled if you hand it off. We can't teach somebody something we don't know. At times, we will need to outsource something that we just do not know how to do. Experts that we actually embrace and offload to them and outsource to can enhance the team and cover specific tasks. And they'll love doing it at the same time. So your creativity as a leader is so important. When we want to build a strong team that can handle the daily routine, without our direct intervention, we have to be creative. And honestly, the bottom line to all of this is ask more questions. Ask them what's working. Ask them what they hate. Ask them what's broken. And find out who wants to work more closely with you as a leader and pull them in, draw them in, and offload. Delegate with a purpose. The team is going to have great ideas for what must happen to complete the work. And then you're going to be able to develop every team member in preparation for promotions when that time comes. Delegation is a powerful tool when leaders take the time to build a better future for themselves and the entire team. Remember to ask more questions. Thanks for listening today. Have a great afternoon, a great evening, and I wish you all the best. Thanks so much.